Hello, and welcome to the subsequent episode of The Dog and the Trainer. This time, there is no dog. Roxy is having her coat trimmed at the moment, and the day is also quite unpleasant as it is raining. But this is not the core of our discussion. Today, I'd like to talk about employee development and delegating that is usually associated with that. Sometimes we get the question when a leader, a manager should start delegating. Well, there's something to think about. There are 4 phases of employee development. The first one is we have an enthusiastic beginner, a person who joins the team and is willing to do things and so on and so forth. But sometimes this person waits and waits before starting to do things. Something to take into consideration, maybe a surprise with the enthusiastic beginners. Then the next element is, the next phase is the disillusioned, learner. So having gained more experience, the person becomes overwhelmed by the complexity of things which they have to deal with. The next phase is a capable performer, quite cautious at the same time, and here the competence grows and grows and grows. And finally, the final stage of an employee development is the expert, the independent expert, or sometimes called the self-reliant achiever. And depending on the phase of the employee development, we apply different methods of giving tasks, of simply delegating, and it is a process. If we have 4 phases of development, we can probably expect 4 ways of entrusting tasks or goals. Well, the first one is simply instructing and telling. And this goes, of course, with the enthusiastic beginner. And we just tell the person what should be done. We talked about the 5W plus H method, and that's the one we could apply. Then, in the case of a disillusioned learner, all right, we can go into consulting. But not consulting, the type we think of sophisticated things, but the idea is to build belief with the employee that he or she has the skills, but we still pass instruction, but we want the employee to come up with the final solution, and we give our approval, of course. And the next element to consider when we are moving to the performer, we try to give more and more support. So moving away, right, we encourage discussion, we share our own experience, we think of possible facilities, we facilitate, not facilities, we facilitate problem solving, so that's the way it's going. And finally, this is where we come when we have the achiever, the expert. We move to true, genuine delegating, and we want employee independence, autonomy here. We increase responsibility. We make sure we give challenges. To dwell much deeper, here is how things work. Initially, you tell the person, right, or make sure, and you say, wait until I tell you what to do, and then do it. And that's the 5W plus H method. Then you tell the person to try to work independently and come up with any doubts they may have. So this is the beginner. And the beginner gradually turns into a learner. So it's a bit of a learner and still a bit of a beginner. We ask the person to analyze the case and present the facts to us. and we, as a leader, manager, take the decision. So now we have a fully fledged learner. Then ask the person to analyze the case completely by themselves, and then bring in suggestions of proposals of solutions for our approval. Right, so this is deep into the learner. And gradually the learner starts turning into a performer. So we want to know what they are going to do, and if we express our consent as a leader, they do it. And this is already a phase, the beginning of becoming a performer, right? And the real performer, well, just let me know what you are up to, and do it if I don't object. And then finally, we move on to the next one, bit of a performer, bit of an expert. Just do it and let me know the results. And the ultimate expert, when we trust the person, we just tell them, do it and let me know what the result is. Of course, what we have talked about is very, very simplified, but gives an idea of the process, how we should move from instructing through a consulting, coaching phase, through supporting, and reaching the ultimate, just delegating tasks, or rather goals at the end, to our employee. Thank you for listening. See you soon.